Hey, I'm Jason. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, we're going to talk about some personality types that might really struggle living overseas. Righto, let's get into it. Okay, personality type number 1. This is probably the most well-known and talked about personality type. That's the A-type personality. The control freak, the bro who has to be in charge of everything and everything has to have a positive outcome all the time. This kind of guy is really going to struggle in many of the countries that are popular with people who leave the West, right? So Southeast Asia, Latin America. You know, okay, look, maybe you are an A-type personality and maybe you'll be okay, maybe. But you're gonna struggle sometimes for sure, and you're probably going to have to develop a level of patience that you didn't realize you had within you. And when I first moved to Ecuador, I was definitely a lot more results driven, shall we say, definitely a lot more assertive. These days I'm much more chill. I have learned to have a truly otherworldly level of patience to deal with some of these issues. When I first arrived here, there were many occasions where I thought I was just going to lose it. For example, you know, if you're dealing with some kind of issue at a government department and you're speaking with 2 different government employees in the same office and they're giving you 2 different answers. You know, that situation is very common here. Another one that I deal with quite often is when I'm at a bank. You know, oftentimes here I have to actually go to a bank and line up. And there'll be 20 people in front of you in line. There'll be one teller open. And while everybody's waiting, multiple people will cut in line in front of you and in front of everyone. And this situation is just maddening. You just have to, you can't say anything, right? I mean, there's nothing you can do. This is just how it is in many of these countries. So you just got to talk yourself down from the edge and understand that sometimes things don't work the way you think they should, and often there's not an explanation or a good reason. There's just nothing you can do about it. So if you're watching this and you're an A-type personality, just know this is really going to be more difficult than probably you expect. It might be difficult for you. Okay, next one. This one's not really a personality, it's more of a situation. If you are in a bad marriage, don't move abroad. If you and your spouse are already having marital problems, the last thing you want to do is move overseas to a new country. It's not going to make your marriage better. It's going to make it worse, 100%. Look, just don't do it. If you've got issues, stay where you are. You know, get some counseling, do what you need to do. Really, even if you have to break up, if you have to get a divorce, do it in your home country. The absolute worst situation would be to move to another country and then split up and get a divorce. I can tell you, it is no fun. Don't do it. Okay, next category. We're going to talk about everybody's favorite, the foreigner who will not adapt to his or her chosen country. They just won't do it. These people are just the worst. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them. I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about. These people complain constantly about their country that they have moved to. They refuse to learn the language. Absolutely, of course not. They expect the locals to speak English, right? This is the kind of person we're talking about. They are often loud, they're rude, obnoxious, they treat wait staff or service industry workers terribly. They're constantly talking about how their home country does things the best way, and it's the only way. They want their new country that they moved to change their culture to suit them. These people are... I'm guessing the primary reason that these people left their home country was for a lower cost of living. And okay, I mean, that's a big part of it for all of us. But I think with these people, that's their only reason, right? All they want is a cheaper a cheaper life. And they apparently don't care about the local culture. They don't care about anything. They just want to come here and spend less, right? Live in their castle on the hill. This kind of situation. It's embarrassing. If I ever walk into a restaurant and there's somebody like that in there, some great big wine-soaked buffoon from the United States just booming. Okay, and to be fair, if you're in Thailand, it'd be the same person from Australia, right? It'd be some drunken wanker from Australia talking at the top of his voice and, you know, being really insulting to all the local people. Australians are just as bad in that situation. we got them too. But here, of course, we're in South America, so most of the people I see like this are from the United States. It's just geographical. Anyway, if I walk into a place and I see these people and hear them doing that, I immediately distance myself. If I can, I'll just leave, right? If there's no reason for me to be there, I'll just turn around and walk straight out. But if I have to be there for some reason, I will be as far away from them as possible, because I don't want the locals to think that I'm friends with this guy or gal. Sometimes it's women too, but mostly it's men. It's a really ugly situation, and you don't want to be this person. I mean, if you are this person, I doubt you're watching videos like this. This is probably a little bit too thoughtful and introspective for you. But if you are and you're watching this video, don't do it. Just don't. If you're just moving overseas to save some money and you don't care at all about the culture you're moving to, just don't do it. Just stay where you are. Nobody wants that. You're not going to be welcome. All right, next one, moving on. Okay, this next one is really difficult and really serious. We're going to talk about cruelty to animals. Now, I'm not going to say anything specific. I'm not going to give you any horrific examples of what I've seen here. So you don't need to worry about that. But I want to talk about the fact that you will see some terrible things in other countries. If you are a person who, look, obviously nobody likes to see cruelty to animals. Nobody wants to see that. But if it's particularly difficult for you, if you happen to see something and then it stays with you, you ruminate over it, and weeks later you're still thinking about it, you're probably gonna struggle in some of these foreign countries that are popular with people from the West. I can tell you, it's definitely an issue here in Ecuador. Unfortunately, many people here do not view animals the same way that you and I do in, the United States or the UK or Ireland or Australia. Look, there are some people who do have pets and they treat those pets like they are members of the family. But unfortunately, there is a lot of people, a lot of people who don't think of animals that way. They think of animals as like autonomous machines or beasts of burden. And they appear to not realize that animals can suffer and suffer pain. So unfortunately, you're going to see some things. There's nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You can volunteer. I volunteered for a long time at a dog shelter, and it was brutal. I had to stop because of the things I was seeing. But even if you don't expose yourself to it in that way, you're going to see stuff. For example, you might be on a bus, you might be in a taxi, and you might see some guy doing something horrific to his dog or somebody else's dog or to a cat. And there's nothing you can do. You pass by the situation, you see it, and then the bus continues, and then that image of whatever you saw is burned into your memory for the rest of your life, probably. It's really, really difficult. This is probably the hardest thing for me to deal with in Ecuador. And I know for some people, it's too much. And this is the thing that will make them move home. So really, if you know this about yourself, this is something to seriously consider. Always, of course, I always recommend you do a boots on the ground exploratory trip to whichever country you are thinking about moving. You know, see how you feel. If you see some stuff like that, you got to really know how you're going to handle this. It's a serious issue. You want to think about it. Okay, moving on. The next type of people we're going to talk about are people whose identity is attached to their success, right? Their achievements. When you move abroad, all of that disappears. I mean, unless you're moving here as a representative of your organization or something like that. But for most people, when they move abroad, their entire previous life is gone. It's finished. This is a really profound change. And for a lot of people like that, who really are very proud of their achievements and what they've done or what they've created, it can feel like a loss, like a really powerful loss. It's quite difficult. Now, you might say to me, well, Jason, why would somebody like that move abroad? Unfortunately, we see the situation when a couple moves abroad, or one person in the couple wants to move abroad and the other person really doesn't want to, but they end up doing it anyway. So if I'm speaking to you, if you are part of a couple and your spouse, your partner is really excited about moving overseas, but you don't really want to, you know, you've built a career, you've built a very successful life, you're proud of what you've done, this could be a major problem for you. And I have actually met a couple of people now for whom this was such a big problem that when they moved abroad, they split up. You know, the person who is like that, the person who has the identity tied to their career back home, they went home. So this is certainly something very serious that you should think about if your spouse really wants to move abroad and you are, you know, this sounds like you. It sounds like you might struggle with this loss. I want to tell you it is a very big loss, and it is a total reset with your life. Now, some people love this. Some people move abroad because they want a fresh start and they want a reset. But if that's not you, if you're quite happy with what you've built, then moving abroad might be a mistake. It's something to think about. Hey, thanks for watching my video all the way to the end. All right, a little bit about me. My name is Jason Alvey. I'm from Brisbane, Australia. I left Australia when I was 26 years old. I went and lived in London for 2 years. Then I lived in Minneapolis, United States for 22 years. And now, as I'm recording this, I've been living in Ecuador for just over 4 years. Right now I live in Guayaquil, but I've lived in different cities in this country. I've been helping people with questions about living abroad for a long time now. And if you want to see exactly what I do, what services I offer, and the rates that I charge for them, there is a link to my website down below. If you want to check out my photography website, there's a link for that too, as well as a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you really enjoyed this video and you'd like to support me by buying me a coffee, I would really appreciate that. That'd be great. I want to let you know I don't use AI for any of my videos or photography. And if that is as important to you as it is to me, then I want to say thank you for supporting a person who is creative without the use of AI. If you're also a creative person who doesn't use AI, tell me what you do. Maybe I can support you too. Okay, here's the part of my video where I say something crazy. I'm going to ask you to not subscribe to my channel. That's right. Please don't subscribe to my channel unless you are really interested in moving abroad and you really want to watch some of my videos. So here's the thing. If you're maybe a friend of mine and you want to support me by giving me a subscribe, hey, that's really cool. I really appreciate it. But if you subscribe to the channel and then you don't watch any of the videos, that sends the wrong message to the algorithm, and then my videos won't get shown to as many people. If you really want to support me, maybe you know somebody who is thinking about leaving their home country. Maybe you could share one of my videos with that person that would be awesome. That would be really helpful, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Righto, cheers.